Olivia Bennett had perfected the science of disappearing in plain sight. At 29 years old, she had spent the last 6 years mastering the delicate balance of being present yet unnoticed. Her desk sat in the furthest corner of Sterling Communications, tucked behind outdated filing cabinets and a printer that jammed every third page. The location was no accident. It was carefully chosen, deliberately isolated, exactly where she wanted to be. The morning sun barely reached her workspace, leaving her in comfortable shadows while the rest of the Chicago office buzzed with the energy of ambitious marketing professionals. Olivia adjusted her oversized beige sweater, pulling it tighter around her frame. The fabric was intentionally shapeless, chosen from a thrift store specifically because it made her look forgettable. Her auburn hair, which once fell in natural waves past her shoulders, was pulled back in a severe bun so tight it caused tension headaches by noon. The glasses perched on her nose were non-prescription, an accessory meant to complete her transformation into someone utterly ordinary. She booted up her computer and opened the campaign analysis she had been developing for the past 3 weeks. Numbers danced across her screen, data patterns emerging that others might miss. This was where Olivia truly lived. In the world of consumer behavior studies, market trends, and strategic planning, she was exceptional. Her recommendations had saved the company's largest accounts multiple times, though her name never appeared on the presentations. She submitted her work through her supervisor, who took credit without hesitation. Olivia preferred it that way. Recognition meant visibility, and visibility meant danger. The storm arrives. The office atmosphere shifted dramatically that Tuesday morning. Conversations hushed and reformed into anxious clusters. Sterling Communications had been acquired by Cross Industries, a massive conglomerate built from nothing by Nathan Cross, a man whose name appeared regularly in business publications. At 38, he had transformed a small tech startup into a billion-dollar empire spanning software development, real estate, and now marketing firms. The acquisition had finalized over the weekend, and today marked his first official appearance as the new owner. Olivia tried to focus on her spreadsheets, but the tension was impossible to ignore. Claire Martinez, a senior marketing executive with perfectly manicured nails and designer suits, appeared at the edge of Olivia's cubicle. Her presence was unusual. Claire rarely acknowledged Olivia's existence. "Even you should be concerned today," Claire said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Though honestly, people like you are probably safe. Nobody important enough to cut." Olivia kept her eyes on her screen, her fingers steady on the keyboard. "I just focus on my work." Claire laughed, sharp and dismissive. "That's adorable. Enjoy your anonymity while it lasts." She walked away, her heels clicking against the tile floor like a countdown. Margaret, the kind receptionist who sometimes brought Olivia coffee, stopped by moments later. "Don't mind Claire. Your work is brilliant, even if nobody gives you credit for it." "Thank you, Margaret," Olivia replied softly, managing a small smile. "Company meeting in 15 minutes, Margaret added. "The new owner wants to address everyone. When eyes see what others miss." The conference room filled quickly with Sterling's 300 employees. Olivia claimed her usual position in the back row, partially hidden behind a tall analyst named Robert. She opened her notebook, preparing to take notes nobody would read, just as she had done at dozens of company meetings before. The room's energy shifted the moment Nathan Cross entered. He moved with quiet confidence, his presence commanding attention without demanding it. He stood well over 6 feet, with dark hair touched with silver at the temples. His navy suit was impeccably tailored but understated. What captured Olivia's attention, despite her best efforts to remain detached, were his eyes. They were an unusual shade of gray-green, intelligent and observant in a way that made her instinctively want to hide further into her corner. "Good morning," Nathan began, his voice carrying easily across the room without being loud. "I'm Nathan Cross. As of 3 days ago, I own this company." He paused, letting the weight of that statement settle before continuing. "I'm not here to dismantle what you've built. I'm here because I see untapped potential. This company has talented people producing solid work, but I believe you're capable of extraordinary work. Olivia found herself listening intently, something she normally avoided during corporate speeches. There was something different in his tone. Something genuine that cut through the usual executive rhetoric. Over the next 6 weeks, I'll be meeting with every department, every team, and reviewing every significant project from the past year, Nathan continued. I want to understand not just what you do, but how you think. I believe the best ideas come from the people actually doing the work, not from consultants who bill by the hour. His gaze moved systematically across the room, and Olivia felt her pulse quicken as his eyes swept past her section. She looked down at her notebook, pen poised over blank paper, willing herself to remain unnoticed. I'm looking for people who care about excellence, Nathan said, and something in his voice made Olivia glance up briefly. People who take pride in their work even when nobody's watching. Those are the people I want to build this company's future with. The call that changes everything. The meeting concluded with details about restructuring timelines and department reviews. Olivia barely registered the information. She was too focused on controlling her breathing, on maintaining the careful invisibility she had cultivated for 6 years. The moment the meeting ended, she slipped out through a side door, avoiding the crowd, and hurried back to her isolated corner. She had just settled back into her analysis when her desk phone rang. Olivia stared at it through 4 rings before answering, her hand slightly unsteady. Olivia Bennett, she said quietly. Miss Bennett, this is Jennifer from Mr. Cross's office. He'd like to meet with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Conference room 7. Olivia's throat tightened. I think there might be a mistake. I'm just a junior analyst. No mistake. Tomorrow, 2 o'clock, conference room 7. Please bring the consumer behavior analysis you completed for the Hartman account last month. The line went dead before Olivia could respond. She sat frozen, staring at her computer screen without seeing it. How did Nathan Cross even know she existed? More importantly, how did he know about the Hartman analysis? She had submitted that report through her supervisor 5 weeks ago. Her name hadn't been on it. Margaret appeared at her cubicle entrance, her expression concerned. Olivia, are you all right? You look pale. Nathan Cross wants to meet with me, Olivia whispered. Tomorrow. Margaret's eyes widened. That's wonderful. He must have seen your work. No, Olivia said, shaking her head slowly. That's not wonderful. That's terrifying. Because being noticed meant being visible. Being visible meant being vulnerable. And vulnerability was something Olivia Bennett had sworn she would never allow again. Not after what happened in New York. Not after the betrayal that had destroyed everything she once was. She had built these walls for a reason. Now, somehow, Nathan Cross was threatening to see right through them. Olivia barely slept that night. She lay in her small studio apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying every possible scenario for the meeting. By morning, dark circles shadowed her eyes, barely concealed by her glasses. She dressed even more carefully than usual, choosing a gray cardigan 2 sizes too large and pants that hung awkwardly at her ankles. Her hair was pulled back so tightly it made her temples ache. The morning crawled by with agonizing slowness. Olivia tried to focus on her current project, but her eyes kept drifting to the clock. At 1:45, she gathered the Hartman analysis file with trembling hands. The report was comprehensive, filled with insights about consumer psychology and market positioning that had ultimately saved the account. She had poured 3 weeks of intensive research into it, yet her supervisor had presented it as his own work. She had been fine with that arrangement. Until now. Conference room 7 was on the executive floor, a place Olivia had never been. The elevator ride felt eternal. When the doors opened, she stepped into a space that felt like a different world. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked downtown Chicago. The carpet was plush beneath her worn flats. Everything gleamed with the polish of success. Jennifer, a poised woman in her 40s, greeted her with a warm smile. "Miss Bennett, right on time. Mr. Cross is expecting you. Go right in." Olivia's hand shook as she reached for the door handle. She forced herself to breathe steadily, to remember her training in invisibility. Be quiet. Be forgettable. Answer questions briefly. Escape as soon as possible. The man who actually saw. Nathan Cross stood by the window, his back to the door, studying something on his tablet. He turned as she entered, and Olivia felt the full weight of his attention. Those gray-green eyes met hers directly, and she had the unsettling sensation that he was seeing past all her carefully constructed barriers. "Miss Bennett, thank you for coming." His voice was warm, professional. He gestured to the conference table. "Please, sit down." Olivia sat, clutching her file folder like a shield. Nathan took the seat across from her, not at the head of the table but directly opposite, as if they were equals. The gesture surprised her. "I've been reviewing files from the past 2 years," Nathan began, leaning back in his chair. "Projects, campaigns, performance records. I like to understand what's really happening in a company, not just what the reports say." He paused, his eyes never leaving hers. "Your name kept appearing in unusual places." Olivia's stomach dropped. "I don't understand." The Hartman account analysis. The revision strategy for the Palmer campaign. The consumer behavior study that redirected the entire approach for Mitchell Electronics. Nathan tapped his tablet. "All brilliant work. All submitted through your supervisor, David Richardson. But the metadata on the files tells a different story. You created them." Heat rushed to Olivia's face. "I work under Mr. Richardson. It's normal for supervisors to present their team's work." "Except you're not listed as being on his team," Nathan said quietly. "According to organizational charts, you work independently as a junior analyst. Yet somehow, the most innovative strategic thinking in this company is coming from your computer, at odd hours, with your fingerprints all over it." Olivia looked down at her hands, fingers twisted together in her lap. "I just do my job." "No." Nathan's voice was firm but not unkind. "You do exceptional work while hiding behind someone who takes credit for it. The question is why?" Cracks in the armor. Silence stretched between them. Olivia could feel Nathan waiting, patient but persistent. She had spent 6 years perfecting her invisibility, 6 years ensuring nobody looked too closely at her. Now this man was peeling back layers she had thought were sealed forever. "I prefer to work quietly," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "There's working quietly, and then there's actively erasing yourself," Nathan replied. He leaned forward slightly. "Miss Bennett, I've built 3 companies from nothing. I know talent when I see it. You have a gift for understanding human behavior, for seeing patterns others miss. But you're deliberately sabotaging yourself." "Why?" Olivia felt tears threatening and blinked them back furiously. She would not cry in front of this man. She would not show weakness. Nathan's expression softened. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to understand. And if I'm being honest, I'm here because wasting extraordinary talent bothers me more than almost anything else." Something in his tone made Olivia look up. There was no judgment in his eyes, only genuine curiosity and something else she couldn't quite identify. Concern, perhaps. 6 years ago, she heard herself saying, "I worked at a prestigious firm in New York. I was engaged to someone from a wealthy family. I had a career, a future, confidence." The words came slowly, painfully. "Then his business partner assaulted me. I rejected him. 2 days later, fake photographs appeared online showing me in compromising situations with that man. They destroyed my reputation, my relationship, my career. Everything. Nathan's expression darkened, but he remained silent, letting her continue. His family had lawyers, money, connections. I had nothing. Within a week, I lost my job. My fiancé believed the lies without question. My own family thought I had betrayed him. So I left. I changed my name, came here, and rebuilt my life as someone nobody would ever notice again. Olivia's voice cracked slightly. Because if nobody sees you, nobody can destroy you. The response she never expected. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was gentle but carried an edge of steel. What happened to you was criminal. It was also completely unjust. But Miss Bennett, punishing yourself for someone else's crimes doesn't make you safer. It just means they're still winning. Olivia felt something crack inside her chest, a wall she had reinforced every day for 6 years suddenly developing fissures. I'm not asking you to transform overnight, Nathan continued. But I am asking you to consider the possibility that hiding your brilliance serves no one, least of all yourself. He slid a folder across the table. This is a proposal for a new position. Senior Strategic Analyst, reporting directly to me. Your own office, your own team eventually, and full credit for your work. No more hiding behind Richardson. Olivia stared at the folder as if it might explode. Why would you do this? Because talent like yours should be recognized and rewarded, Nathan said simply. And because something tells me you've been in hiding long enough. She opened the folder with shaking hands. The salary listed made her gasp. It was triple what she currently made. The job description outlined exactly the kind of work she loved, strategic analysis and consumer behavior research on a much larger scale. I need time to think, she whispered. Take the rest of the week, Nathan said. But Olivia. He used her first name, and somehow it didn't feel intrusive. Whatever you decide about the position, please consider getting proper credit for your current work. You deserve at least that much. An unexpected connection. As Olivia stood to leave, Nathan spoke again. May I ask you something personal? She tensed but nodded. Do you ever miss her? The woman you were before? The question hit Olivia like a physical blow. Tears finally spilled over, running down her cheeks before she could stop them. She furiously wiped them away, embarrassed. Every single day, she admitted, her voice breaking. But she was foolish. She trusted people. She believed in fairness and justice. She got destroyed because of it. Nathan stood and walked around the table, maintaining a respectful distance but close enough that she could see the sincerity in his eyes. She wasn't foolish. She was hopeful. There's a difference. And maybe, just maybe, she deserved better than to be locked away forever because bad people did bad things. Olivia couldn't speak. She clutched the folder to her chest and fled the room, Nathan's words echoing in her mind. She made it to the elevator before the sobs truly hit. Margaret found her 20 minutes later in the women's restroom, makeup ruined, glasses fogged, her careful disguise completely undone. Oh honey, Margaret said softly, pulling her into a hug. Whatever happened, it's going to be okay. But Olivia wasn't crying because something bad had happened. She was crying because for the first time in 6 years, someone had looked at her and actually seen her. Not the disguise, not the careful invisibility, but the woman buried underneath all those protective layers. And the most terrifying part was that she wanted him to keep looking. The beginning of change. That evening, Olivia sat in her apartment with the job proposal spread across her small kitchen table. She had read it 17 times, memorizing every detail. The position was everything she had once dreamed of, back when she allowed herself to dream. Her phone buzzed with an email notification. It was from Nathan Cross, sent directly to her personal email address. How he had gotten it, she didn't know. The subject line read, no pressure, just thoughts. She opened it with trembling fingers. Miss Bennett, I realize today's meeting was difficult. I apologize if I pushed too hard. Whatever you decide about the position, I want you to know something. I've spent my entire career building companies, and I've learned that the most valuable people are rarely the loudest ones. They're the ones who do exceptional work simply because they care about excellence, not recognition. You're one of those people. Whether you choose to step into the light or remain in the shadows, your value doesn't change. But I hope you'll consider that maybe, just maybe, the world deserves to see what you're capable of. And more importantly, maybe you deserve to show them. Respectfully, Nathan Cross. Olivia read the email 3 times, then closed her laptop and walked to her bathroom mirror. She pulled the pins from her severe bun, letting her auburn hair fall free for the first time in months. She removed the fake glasses and studied her reflection. Somewhere underneath the disguise was the woman she used to be. Olivia wondered if it was possible to find her again without losing the hard-won safety of the past 6 years. She didn't have an answer yet. But for the first time since fleeing New York, she was willing to ask the question. Friday morning arrived with autumn rain drumming against Olivia's apartment windows. She had spent 3 sleepless nights wrestling with Nathan's offer, the job proposal sitting on her kitchen table like a challenge she couldn't ignore. Every logical part of her brain screamed danger. Visibility meant vulnerability. Recognition meant risk. Yet something deeper, a voice she had silenced for 6 years, whispered that maybe it was time to stop hiding. She dressed differently that morning. Not dramatically, nothing that would draw immediate attention, but subtly. The cardigan was still loose but in a soft blue instead of beige. Her hair was pulled back neatly rather than severely. The glasses remained, a security blanket she wasn't quite ready to abandon. Small changes, but they felt monumental. The office buzzed with its usual Friday energy. Olivia made her way to her isolated cubicle, her heart pounding with each step. The job proposal folder sat in her bag, her decision written in careful handwriting on the acceptance form inside. At 9 o'clock, her phone rang. Jennifer's professional voice greeted her. Miss Bennett, Mr. Cross would like to see you at 9:30 if you're available. I'll be there, Olivia replied, surprised by the steadiness in her own voice. Stepping into light. This time, the elevator ride to the executive floor felt different. Olivia watched the numbers climb, each floor representing a choice to keep moving forward instead of running away. When she entered conference room 7, Nathan was already there, reviewing documents on his laptop. He looked up as she entered, and something flickered in his expression. Recognition, perhaps, of the small changes in her appearance. Miss Bennett, thank you for coming. He closed his laptop, giving her his full attention. Have you had time to consider the offer? Olivia sat down, placing the folder on the table between them. Her hands trembled slightly, but she pushed through the fear. I have. And I want you to know something first. Nathan waited, patient and attentive. 6 years ago, I was someone confident, ambitious, someone who believed hard work and integrity mattered. Her voice was quiet but steady. When everything fell apart, I thought that person was naive and foolish. So I buried her. I built walls so high and so thick that nothing could hurt me again. She paused, meeting his eyes directly for the first time. But walls that keep pain out also keep life out. You made me realize that. And what have you decided? Nathan asked softly. Olivia slid the folder across the table. I'm accepting your offer. I'm terrified, but I'm accepting it. The smile that crossed Nathan's face was genuine and warm, transforming his usually serious expression. I'm glad. Truly glad. He opened the folder, reviewing her signed acceptance. We'll make the announcement Monday. I'll have Jennifer coordinate getting your new office set up. There's something else, Olivia said, surprising herself with her boldness. I need to confront David Richardson about taking credit for my work. Not for revenge, but because if I'm going to step into this new role, I need to do it honestly. Nathan's expression turned serious. Would you like me to be there? No, Olivia said firmly. This is something I need to do myself. Confronting the past. David Richardson's office occupied a prime corner position with views of the Chicago skyline. Olivia had been inside exactly 3 times in 6 years, always summoned to explain her analysis so he could present it as his own. She knocked on his door at 10 o'clock, her resolve solidifying with each passing second. Come in, David called out, not looking up from his computer. Olivia entered and closed the door behind her. That action made David glance up, his expression shifting from disinterest to mild annoyance. Bennett, I didn't call for you. What do you want? I want to discuss the Hartman analysis. And the Palmer campaign revision. And the Mitchell electronics study. Olivia remained standing, her voice calm but firm. All the work I've done that you've presented as your own. David's face reddened. I don't know what you're talking about. You work under my direction. Any work you do is part of my department's output. Except I don't work under your direction, Olivia replied. I'm an independent analyst. You've been taking my completed work and claiming it as yours for 2 years. David stood, attempting to use his height to intimidate her. That's a serious accusation. Do you have any proof? File metadata. Time stamps. Email records. Olivia felt surprisingly calm. But I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to inform you that it stops now. Starting Monday, I'll be working directly with Mr. Cross as Senior Strategic Analyst. My work will be credited to me. The color drained from David's face. Cross knows about this? He's the one who discovered it. Olivia turned to leave, then paused at the door. You're talented, David. You don't need to steal other people's work. But you do need to stop. She left before he could respond, her legs shaking but her heart lighter than it had felt in years. The walls come down. Over the following weeks, Olivia's transformation was gradual but profound. Her new office had windows overlooking Lake Michigan. She began dressing in clothes that actually fit, her natural style emerging slowly. The severe bun loosened into softer styles. The glasses disappeared after the first week. But the most significant change was internal. Olivia started speaking up in meetings, sharing insights she once would have kept hidden. She built a small team of analysts who looked to her with respect and admiration. Her work was finally attached to her name, and the recognition felt both terrifying and exhilarating. Nathan was a constant presence, professional but attentive. They met weekly to discuss projects, but their conversations often drifted beyond business. He shared stories about building his first company in a garage, about failures and setbacks that had shaped him. She found herself opening up about her love of consumer psychology, her fascination with understanding what drives human decisions. One evening in late November, they were working late on a major campaign proposal. The office had emptied hours ago, leaving just the two of them in the conference room surrounded by market research and strategy documents. You've changed, Nathan observed during a break, pouring coffee from the pot Jennifer had left. Not just your appearance. Everything about you is different. Olivia accepted the coffee, their fingers brushing briefly. The contact sent an unexpected jolt through her. I feel like I'm remembering who I used to be. Or maybe discovering who I'm supposed to be. I'm not sure which. Can I tell you something? Nathan set down his cup, his expression serious. I wasn't completely honest about why I wanted to meet with you that first day. Olivia's heart skipped. What do you mean? Your work impressed me, absolutely. But there was something else. He met her eyes directly. I saw you in that company meeting, hiding in the back corner, trying to disappear. And I recognized something in you because I saw it in myself years ago. I don't understand. Nathan was quiet for a moment, choosing his words carefully. When I was 25, I had a business partner who sabotaged our first major deal and blamed me. I lost everything. My reputation, my investors, my confidence. I spent 2 years working warehouse jobs, convinced I'd never amount to anything. He paused. Then someone took a chance on me. A mentor who saw past my failure to the potential underneath. That changed my life. So you felt sorry for me, Olivia said, trying to keep the hurt from her voice. No. Nathan's response was immediate and firm. I saw someone extraordinary trying to make herself ordinary. And I thought maybe, if I could help you remember your own worth, that would mean something. He hesitated, then continued. But somewhere along the way, it became more than that. When truth surfaces. Before Olivia could respond, her phone buzzed with a call from an unknown New York number. She almost declined it, but something made her answer. Olivia Collins? A woman's voice, professional and unfamiliar. This is Olivia Bennett, she corrected automatically. Ms. Bennett, my name is Rachel Chen. I'm an investigative journalist with the New York Times. I'm working on a story about Richard Holloway and a pattern of sexual harassment allegations against him. Your name came up in my research. Would you be willing to speak with me? The room seemed to tilt. Olivia gripped the edge of the table. How did you find me? Court records from 6 years ago. The defamation case your former fiancé's family filed against you. Rachel's voice was gentle. Ms. Bennett, 4 other women have come forward with similar stories. Fake photographs, destroyed reputations. We have evidence that Richard Holloway has been doing this for over a decade. Your case could help establish the pattern. Olivia looked at Nathan, who was watching with concern. I need time to think about this. Of course. I'll email you my contact information. But Ms. Bennett, these women need your voice. And maybe you need this too. After the call ended, Olivia sat in stunned silence. Nathan moved to the chair beside her, close but not touching. That was about New York, she said quietly. About what happened. I gathered. Nathan's voice was calm, steady. What do you want to do? I don't know. Tears threatened, but Olivia pushed them back. For 6 years, I've been running from this. Hiding from it. The thought of dragging it all back up, of making it public again, terrifies me. Then don't do it, Nathan said simply. You don't owe anyone your story. You don't have to be brave about this if you don't want to be. Olivia turned to look at him, surprised. But those other women need help. And you need to protect yourself. There's no shame in that. Nathan reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and took her hand. Olivia, you've already been incredibly brave. You rebuilt your entire life from ashes. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. The warmth of his hand in hers felt like an anchor. What if I want to? Not for them, but for me. What if I'm tired of letting Richard Holloway control my life? Nathan squeezed her hand gently. Then I'll be there. Every step of the way, if you want me to be. The strength to stand. Olivia spent the weekend researching Richard Holloway. The articles she found painted a picture of a powerful man, vice president of a media company now, married with 2 children. Respected in his community. The thought that he had destroyed multiple women while maintaining his perfect image made her physically ill. Monday morning, she called Rachel Chen. I'll tell my story, Olivia said. But I have conditions. I want to speak to the other women first. I want to know what I'm getting into. Over the next 2 weeks, Olivia met with 3 of the 4 women via video calls. Their stories were heartbreakingly similar. Each had rejected Richard's advances. Each had been destroyed by fabricated evidence. Each had lost careers, relationships, their sense of safety. The fourth woman lived in Chicago. Her name was Amy Torres, and she worked as a teacher, her law career destroyed 5 years ago. They met at a quiet coffee shop. Amy was petite with dark hair and sad eyes that lit up when she saw Olivia. "I can't believe you're real," Amy said, her voice breaking. "When Rachel told me there were others, I thought maybe I wasn't crazy. Maybe it really wasn't my fault." Olivia reached across the table and took Amy's hand. "It was never your fault. None of us deserved what he did." They talked for 3 hours, sharing pain and anger, but also hope. By the end, they weren't just victims. They were survivors connecting across the damage one man had caused. Love in the Light. The article published on a Tuesday in mid-December. The New York Times piece was thorough and devastating, detailing Richard Holloway's pattern of harassment and destruction. 5 women had come forward, their stories documented with evidence Rachel had painstakingly gathered. Olivia's full name was there, her story told honestly and with dignity. She sat in her office, watching the story spread across social media, her hands shaking. A knock on her door made her look up. Nathan stood there, holding 2 cups of coffee. "May I come in?" Olivia nodded, unable to speak. Nathan sat across from her, sliding 1 coffee cup toward her. "I read it," he said quietly. "You were incredibly brave." "I'm terrified," Olivia admitted. "What if Trevor's family comes after me again? What if this destroys everything I've rebuilt? Then we'll handle it together." Nathan's voice was firm. "But Olivia, look." He turned his laptop to show her the response online. Hundreds of comments supporting the women, people sharing their own stories, calls for Richard Holloway to be held accountable. The world is changing. People are listening now in ways they weren't 6 years ago. Tears streamed down Olivia's face. "I spent so long being invisible. And now everyone can see me." Nathan moved around the desk and knelt beside her chair, taking her hands in his. "They see a strong, brilliant woman who refused to let someone else's cruelty define her forever. They see someone worth seeing." "Nathan," Olivia whispered. "I don't know how to do this. How to be visible and vulnerable and still feel safe." "You do it one day at a time," he said gently. "And you do it with people who truly see you, not just your surface, but everything underneath." He paused, his gray-green eyes holding hers. "You do it with someone who's been falling in love with you since the moment he realized you were hiding brilliance behind those terrible cardigans." Olivia's breath caught. "You're falling in love with me?" "I've already fallen," Nathan admitted. "Completely and absolutely. I love your brilliant mind and your resilient heart. I love how you see patterns nobody else notices. I love that you care more about truth than recognition. I love every part of you, the invisible woman you were and the visible woman you're becoming." "I'm still figuring out who I am," Olivia said, her voice shaking. "Then let me figure it out with you." Nathan cupped her face gently. "Let me love you while you remember how to love yourself." Olivia leaned forward, closing the distance between them, and kissed him. It was tentative at first, then deeper. 6 years of hidden emotion pouring out. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying. "I love you too," Olivia whispered. "I think I have since that first meeting when you actually saw me." A new beginning. 3 months later, Richard Holloway resigned from his position amid mounting pressure. Criminal investigations were opened. Trevor, Olivia's former fiancé, reached out with a private apology, admitting he had been wrong to believe the lies. Olivia read his email once, then deleted it. That chapter was closed. She stood in her office one spring morning, looking out at Lake Michigan sparkling under the morning sun. Her reflection in the window showed a woman transformed. Auburn hair fell in natural waves past her shoulders. She wore a fitted dress in deep emerald that she had chosen because she loved the color, not to hide or reveal, but simply because it made her happy. Nathan appeared behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and kissing her temple. Ready for today? Today was the launch of Olivia's new division, Consumer Insights and Strategy. She would be leading a team of 12 analysts, working on campaigns for cross-industry's largest clients. Her name would be on every report, every presentation, every success. "I'm ready," she said, turning in his arms to face him. 6 years ago, I thought my life was over. I thought I would spend forever hiding. And now? Nathan asked, smiling. Now I know that being invisible was its own kind of death. Olivia kissed him softly. Thank you for helping me come back to life. You did that yourself, Nathan said. I just loved you while you did it. They stood together in the light streaming through the windows, two people who had found each other across the barriers of pain and fear. Olivia had learned that being seen wasn't dangerous when you were seen by the right eyes. That vulnerability wasn't weakness when shared with someone who treasured it. That love wasn't about being perfect, but about being genuine. She was no longer the invisible woman hiding in the corner. She was Olivia Bennett, brilliant strategist, survivor, beloved. She was finally, completely, beautifully herself. And for the first time in 6 years, she wasn't afraid of who that person was. The end.